Andy was on the verge of turning into a zombie, yet his daughter was barely 3 months old. He reached for a knife on the ground, intending to end his own life. But looking at his precious daughter, he remembered his wife's dying wish. Andy's heart softened. His daughter had already lost her mother. If he gave up too, how would she survive? So Andy decided to find someone who could care for his daughter while he still had his consciousness. During their journey, the baby cried incessantly. Andy knew she was missing her mother. He took out his wife's perfume and sprayed it a few times. Miraculously, the baby stopped crying. The father and daughter evaded zombie hordes and arrived at an abandoned place. There, they met Jennifer, a retired doctor. She immediately noticed Andy had been bitten, but instead of turning them away, she kindly dressed his wound. Andy thought Jennifer was not only compassionate, but also medically skilled, the perfect choice to care for his daughter. He decided to entrust his daughter to her, but what he saw next left him stunned. Jennifer was terminally ill with little time left. Andy didn't want to burden her further or gamble with his daughter's future. He decided to search for the next kind soul. The infection began flaring up frequently, and he had lost control of his arm. He knew his time was running out. Early the next morning, Andy bid farewell to Jennifer and continued on. Along the way, Andy encountered zombies but was saved by an old man who took them home. Andy thought he had quickly found another kind person, but the old man locked him and a girl in a cage to attract zombies while he looted valuables from the undead. Clever Andy tied rotting flesh to a rope and used the zombies to pull up the cage. The two escaped with the baby. To prevent himself from losing control and hurting them, Andy chained himself to a rock. The next day, Andy decided to seek another kind person. He asked Laura for help, but she flatly refused, saying she didn't care about him or his daughter. The father and daughter had to continue alone. During the journey, Andy's infection flared up again. He fought to suppress it to avoid harming his daughter, then prepared to dig a hole to bury his head and suffocate himself. Instead, he passed out. When Andy awoke after an unknown time, his daughter was gone. He searched frantically, only to discover that Laura had saved them. She couldn't abandon them after all, and decided to help find an adoptive family. Laura led them to an RV stocked with abundant food. The family seemed decent, and Andy was satisfied. When he approached them with his daughter, Jerry was digging a hole. Andy asked if he could care for his daughter. Jerry refused, but the kind-hearted man gave Andy the RV instead. It turned out Jerry had also been bitten and had decided to leave with his wife and daughter. Andy could only depart helplessly. After gunshots rang out, the family was together forever. Andy picked up the gun, contemplating the same escape with his daughter. But then his daughter spoke. She called him Daddy for the first time. His heart swelled with joy. Andy couldn't bear to abandon his child. He resolved to stay with her until the very end. The infection had spread throughout his body. Andy could no longer walk normally and had to lean on Laura to continue. Finally, when he could no longer control himself, he handed his daughter to Laura, asking the girl to take good care of her. Andy kissed his daughter one last time, then walked aside and collapsed. Looking at the rotting flesh on the ground and the stick in the girl's hand, Andy conceived a plan. He tied the flesh to the end of the stick, dug out a stone from the dirt with his hands, and stuffed it in his mouth, then bound his hands tightly with rope. He continued carrying the two girls on his back. This was the last thing he could do for his daughter, a father's final act of love for his child.